After I gave my son a house, his text stunned me. Please don't come on my trip. Discover the unraveling bond between a mother and her son in the grips of ambition and class divide. Mary stood in her sunlit kitchen, a sense of accomplishment washing over her as she gazed at the modest home she had bought for her only son, Alex. This house wasn't just 4 walls, it was a testament to years of hard work spent waiting tables in the local diner, sacrificing her own needs to provide for him. Her hands were rough from long shifts, but her heart was full. Yet, everything changed in an instant with a text that read, "Please don't come on my trip." A tightness gripped her chest, a wave of confusion and worry crashing down on her. What did he mean? Was he embarrassed? Her thoughts spiraled, their once strong connection feeling strained. How could he reject her now, right when she felt she had finally given him the world? She sent back a simple, "Okay," but inside, her heart ached. As her day went on, the reality of his new college life seeped in. She imagined him wandering around that beautiful campus, surrounded by kids who dressed like they'd stepped off a magazine cover. She remembered Alex's excitement when he received that scholarship, yet now she felt the shadow of doubt creeping in, the fear that perhaps he was losing touch with his roots, with her. At the diner, the clatter of mugs and laughter of regulars filled the air, but Mary could barely hear them. Her mind replayed the words of 2 local moms as they spoke of their children's internships in Manhattan, fancy cars, and summer vacations abroad. Each sentence pierced through her like a knife, reminding her of their stark differences. It was one thing to work hard, it was another to be recognized, celebrated. Did her struggles mean nothing to Alex if he was turning away from her? Her heart sank deeper. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As days turned into weeks, Mary decided to surprise Alex and visit him. She felt a rush of hope, perhaps seeing her would rekindle their bond. But fate had other plans. A flat tire and a broken-down car played a cruel joke, leaving her stranded, her dreams dashed. That missed connection felt heavier than any weight she'd ever carried, loneliness tangled in with regret. Was she too much? Had her love suffocated him in pursuit of his goals? Mary spent sleepless nights tracing the years, her sacrifices, the missed meals, the late-night shifts. But while she worked hard for his future, did it pull him away from her? Just as despair settled in, a message from Alex appeared. His words struck her. He was grappling with feelings of whether her love stifled his ambition or propelled him toward it. Would they find their way back to each other? Would love resonate louder than the pressures that threatened to tear them apart? As Mary stared at the screen, tears in her eyes, she was left with a hope that somehow, they could rediscover the true meaning of family amidst the turbulence of change. Mary paced her kitchen, feeling the weight of Alex's message pressing down on her. Her mind raced with the implications of his words. It wasn't just the refusal to visit, it was the realization that he was struggling with the very essence of what being a family meant. She picked up the phone again, hesitating before typing. She wanted to reach out, but would her words only push him further away? Just checking in, she finally wrote. A simple line, yet loaded with her longing and an attempt to bridge the gap that felt ever wider. The response came quickly, but it was short. "I'm busy. Talk later." That was it. It felt like a door slamming shut. The silence echoed in her empty kitchen, a stark reminder that the conversations they used to have had been replaced with texts that lacked warmth and connection. She remembered their late-night chats over homework, the endless laughter that filled the small living room of their old apartment. Now, it seemed those moments were fading, replaced by something that felt like distance. Determined to rekindle their relationship, Mary began to think of a way to show Alex how much he meant to her. She scanned the kitchen, her eyes landing on a recipe book that had gathered dust since Alex went off to college. It was filled with the recipes she used to create on family nights, memories infusing the pages. They loved cooking together, the smell of fried chicken, the warmth of freshly baked cookies. I'll send him something, she thought. A taste of home. That Saturday afternoon, she poured herself into preparing Alex's favorite dish. The familiar sizzle of chicken frying in oil brought a flicker of nostalgia, like wrapping a warm blanket around her shoulders. As she stirred the pot, her thoughts drifted to their last family dinner, their excitement to just be together. She hoped this meal would bridge the gap, reminding him of her love in a way words couldn't. Once everything was packed, she placed it in small containers and rushed to the post office, a grin on her face imagining his surprise. Sending a taste of home felt right, maybe it would draw him back to her, even just a little. However, as she handed the package over, a flicker of doubt crept in. What if he ignored it? What if it was too late? That night, despite the hope that bubbled within her, Mary couldn't help but feel a sense of darkness. Silence stretched longer than she intended and her thoughts spiraled toward insecurity. What if he didn't care anymore about their memories, about her? Then came another message late that night. Got your food package. It was thoughtful, Mom. Her heart fluttered with that simple acknowledgement, yet just as quickly, anxiety tightened its grip. But I can't keep living like this. I need space. Space. The words sank deep within her, almost hollowing out her stomach. Did he really think she was holding him back? Could he feel her love so intensely that it felt suffocating? A conflict churned in her heart, she couldn't stop herself from sending a reply. I just want to support you, Alex. Seconds felt like hours waiting for him to respond. The room darkened around her, each tick of the clock mocking her vulnerability. The message finally pinged. I know. I'm figuring things out. That was it. No comforting words, no warmth. Just a raw admission that hung between them, hovering in the air like a thick fog. In the stillness that followed, Mary knew they were at a crossroads, and this moment could shape the future of their relationship. Would she keep fighting to connect, or would she allow him the space he needed, even if it meant stepping back? As the weight of uncertainty loomed over her, Mary felt a resolve kindling within. If Alex was struggling to define his identity, she would support his journey whatever that looked like. But at what cost to her own heart? The question remained, how do you love someone without losing yourself? And as she crawled into bed that night, she couldn't shake the feeling that the next message would either draw them closer or push them further apart. Mary woke up the next morning with a heavy heart. The sun streamed through the kitchen window, illuminating the dust that had settled on the countertop, a vivid reminder of how much life had changed in such a short time. She brewed her coffee, the rich aroma swirling around her, but it offered little comfort. For the first time, she felt the vastness of the distance between her and Alex. As she sipped the coffee, her eyes lingered on the recipe book again. She remembered how Alex would pick out the most elaborate dishes, pleading with her to always use the family recipes. It wasn't just about food, it was their connection. Now, he was trying to carve out his own path, and she didn't know if she was part of it anymore. Looking at her phone, she saw the notification icon. Her heart raced, praying it was a message from Alex. But it was just a notification from a family group chat. Pictures of relatives on weekend outings flooded the screen, laughter caught in the pixels. She felt a pang of envy. They were together. They were happy. And here she was, feeling like a ghost in her own home, a woman who had once been a central figure in someone else's life. That afternoon, her fingers ached to type out another message to Alex, to poke through the walls he had built. Can we talk? Yet, the fear of rejection froze her. What if he shut her out again? What if he needed her less than she ever imagined? Instead, Mary decided to distract herself. She picked up the novel she had abandoned months ago and sunk into the fiction world. But the characters felt hollow, and their happy endings couldn't fill the gaping void left by her own son. She flipped through the pages mechanically as the day faded to night. The quiet evening drew on, and Mary found herself staring at the clock again. She tried to focus on a new TV show, but the plot remained unclear, just like her relationship with Alex. Finally, with a sigh, she picked up her phone and checked her messages once more. The screen remained stubbornly blank. She imagined Alex at his college, surrounded by friends, laughter, and adventures. Did he think of her? Did he miss home even a little? In a fit of impulse, Mary clicked on a blank message thread. A few words floated to her fingertips. "I miss you." But before she could hit send, her heart stopped. The sudden rush of vulnerability frightened her. What if he saw it as desperation? What if it pushed him away? With trembling hands, she put the phone down and reached for her laptop instead. She opened her email and started drafting a longer letter, a mix of memories and reassurances that she believed would convey her love. "You will always have a home here." With every keystroke, she felt her heart beat louder, filling the quiet with her fears and hopes for him. Just when she thought she might send it, ready to bare her soul to him, a notification pinged again. Her heart leaped, and she rushed to read it. It was from Alex. "I'm going away for the weekend. Don't wait up." Just like that, the window of communication closed, leaving behind an echo of cold and distant words. Staring at the screen, Mary fought back tears. Another layer of separation had formed, and with each passing hour, she felt more like a stranger to him. Did he truly need space, or was it something deeper? As she closed her laptop, a stirring thought surfaced. Maybe it was time to find a way to draw him back, but this time, not with food or texts. If he was struggling to find his identity, perhaps he needed a guide, a way to discover it together. Resolved, she took a deep breath. She would write a new letter, one that offered not just understanding but also a proposal. A way for them to reconnect. But how would she approach it? Would he even care to listen? The uncertainty loomed, heavier than before. And as she stared blankly at her phone, the question lingered in her mind, twisting with her emotions. What if this weekend away led Alex to a revelation about what their relationship could be? Would he finally understand that true connection begins with vulnerability? Mary woke up the next day with a sense of determination. The weight of uncertainty still lingered, but it was mixed with a spark of hope. She brewed her coffee again, the bubbling sound soothing her nerves as it filled the air with warmth. Today was different, she had a plan. As she sat at the kitchen table, she opened her laptop, staring at the blank document in front of her. This time, she knew the words had to be different. Instead of simply expressing her concerns or longing, she wanted to reach Alex where he was now on his own journey. She began to type, "Alex, I understand that you feel you need space, but I believe together we can find a way back to each other." The words flowed out slowly at first, but the more she wrote, the more clarity she found. "I know this weekend may seem important to you, and perhaps it is. I hope it leads you to some important realizations. But while you're out there, I want you to know I'm still here, rooting for you." After writing down her feelings, she crafted an idea that made her heartbeat race. She proposed a weekend together once he returned, a kind of reunion, not bound by old expectations but open to new possibilities. "Let us cook together, explore our favorite spots, make some new memories." Mary reread her words, her heart swelling with affection and fear. Could she really send this? Was she stepping too far into his life? Each letter she typed felt like a step toward vulnerability, something she was hoping to teach him. Suddenly, she heard the sound of her phone vibrating against the countertop. The notification seemed to echo in the stillness of the room. She glanced at it, her heart leaping into her throat. It was from Alex, but before she could reach for it, a wave of apprehension washed over her. What if he was dismissive again? What if he was quick to let her know he wanted to keep his distance? Taking a deep breath, she opened the message. "Mom, I hope you understand this is just something I need to do right now." Her heart sank as she read the rest. "I promise I'll call when I can." She felt crushed, like a wave crashing over her. He was still distant. Yet underneath that pain was a glimmering resolve. She wouldn't let this be the end of their story. As she composed herself, an idea hit her. What if instead of waiting for him to come back, she took a leap? What if she joined him for part of this trip? Grabbing a piece of paper, she began scribbling a list of things she could pack, a small bag, just enough for a few days. After all, she knew the spots he loved, the hidden gems that dotted the road between his college and the place he called home. It would be a chance to not just confront the distance but to bridge it. What if I surprise him? The thought thrummed through her. It could backfire, or it could be exactly what they needed. She could leave him a note at his dorm, share an embrace, and remind him they were still connected, even if the miles stretched between them. With determination sparking in her chest, Mary packed her bag and felt a mix of excitement and apprehension swell. She was taking a chance, but sometimes unexplored paths led to the most wonderful journeys. As she loaded her things into the car, a flutter of doubt danced through her mind. Would Alex be angry or surprised? Would he reject her presence? But deep down, she felt bold. This was a mother's love driving her forward. With the car humming down the road, she set her sights on the horizon, where opportunity and hope lay just beyond. But what if stumbling upon Alex's weekend revealed more than just the cracks in their relationship? What if it laid bare the true heart of what they needed to confront? As she steered into the distance, she couldn't shake the spine-tingling question lingering in her mind. Would this trip bring them closer or push them further apart? Mary's heart raced as she navigated the familiar roads, the sun shining brightly overhead. The landscape rolled past her like a vibrant painting, trees swaying gently and fields glimmering under the midday sun. But even the beauty of the day couldn't fully lift the weight off her shoulders. She was on her way to reconnect with her son, yet uncertainty rumbled in her chest like a distant storm. The closer she got to Alex's college, the harder it became to keep her mind calm. What if he had second thoughts? What if he didn't want to see her? Just imagining his voice, the tone sharper than she remembered, sent shivers of doubt through her. She cranked up the radio, letting upbeat music drown out her worries, but every passing mile seemed to empty her of confidence. As she parked near his dorm, Mary took a moment to collect herself. She could hear the heartbeat of the campus all around her: laughter, chatter, the sound of squeaky bicycles on pavement. Memories flooded back of family weekends spent exploring this place, the joy when Alex had first called it home. It felt both inviting and alien, and she feared she wouldn't belong in his world anymore. With a deep breath, Mary stepped out of the car, the warm air wrapping around her. She had rehearsed what she would say 100 times in her head. Still, as she walked toward the building, the words seemed to escape her, tangled in the web of her thoughts. When she reached his door, she hesitated. The hum of the campus faded into a silence that felt heavy. This was it. Every moment leading here blurred into a single heartbeat. With trembling fingers, she knocked. The waiting was agonizing. Suddenly, the door swung open, and there stood Alex, his expression a mix of surprise and something she couldn't quite read. His hair was tousled, and he wore a comfortable t-shirt that looked too big for his thin frame. "Mom?" His voice was softer than the last time she heard it. "Hey, Alex. I was, in the neighborhood," she managed to say, her heart thumping loudly against her ribs. He stepped back, allowing her to enter the small space. It was as if she had crossed a threshold into a different world. The walls were covered with posters, scattered clothes littered the floor, and a small desk lay burdened under a pile of textbooks and empty takeout containers. "I didn't expect to see you," he said, raising an eyebrow. "Didn't you say you wanted to give me some space?" Mary felt the sting of his words, a reminder of his earlier message. "I know. But I thought maybe I just wanted to be here. I wanted to see you." Silence hung between them, heavy and uncomfortable. Mary's heart sank as she deciphered Alex's expression. He wasn't angry, but he wasn't thrilled either. "I appreciate it, really. But I have plans this weekend," he replied, his words trailing as he glanced out the window, avoiding her gaze. "Plans?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "I thought maybe we could talk or do something together. I've missed you." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I just need some time, you know." The plea for understanding stung, and the realization hit her hard. Alex still wanted distance. Was she intruding on his life? Had she miscalculated everything? The thought of driving away without having accomplished anything twisted inside her. I know you do, she said, forcing the words out despite the tears prickling at the edge of her eyes. But I'm here because I care. I want to understand what you're going through. Alex took a step back, processing her words. I'm figuring things out, Mom. I just don't want to drag you into it. As he spoke, she noticed a flicker of vulnerability in his eyes, something she hadn't seen before. Maybe it was the first sign of a bridge forming between them. What if, she suggested gently, we start with some ice cream? Remember how we used to go after school? His brow furrowed. I don't know. Just us? She urged. No expectations, just a moment together. He hesitated, glancing back at the remnants of his chaotic space. Mary could see how hard it was for him to open up. Okay, he finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. And in that moment, Mary felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. But just as they reached for something familiar, her phone buzzed in her pocket, jolting her back to reality. It was a text from her best friend, the words flashing before her eyes. Are you sure this is the right path, Mary? Would this ice cream date be enough to mend the distance, or would it open up deeper wounds they weren't ready to face? As Mary looked at Alex, an intense feeling washed over her. What would they uncover over ice cream that was hidden beneath the surface? As they stepped out into the bright sunlight, Mary could feel the warmth on her skin, but it failed to chase away the chill in her heart. Alex walked slightly ahead, his hands deep in his pockets, shuffling his feet like he felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. She wanted to reach out, to touch his arm and pull him closer, but she hesitated, unsure if he would welcome that kind of comfort. They walked in silence toward the small ice cream parlor at the end of the block, the chatter and laughter of students swirling around them like a distant hum. It hit Mary how natural this should feel, but the space between them felt larger than ever. Every moment stretched, and she felt a deafening absence of conversation. What flavor are you gonna get? She ventured, trying to break the ice. Probably just chocolate, he said, glancing over his shoulder at her, then quickly looking away. It's simple. Simple can be good, she replied, offering what she hoped was an encouraging smile. He shrugged, his expression difficult to read. Mary took a deep breath, searching for the right words. You know, I used to love mixing flavors. Every time we went, I'd try to convince you to try something new. I remember, he said, his tone flat, still avoiding her gaze. The parlor was a retro-style place with a flickering neon sign and a collage of smiling faces on the walls. It felt oddly nostalgic, a clear reminder of the carefree days they once shared. They walked up to the counter, and Mary felt her heart race again as she ordered a scoop of mint chocolate chip. She glanced at Alex as he ordered his chocolate, and for a moment, she caught a glimpse of a smile before it quickly vanished. As they moved outside, cones in hand, Mary spotted a bench under a shady tree. Let us sit for a bit? She suggested. Sure, he replied, plopping down with a sigh, the carefree motion a stark contrast to the heaviness of their earlier interaction. Mary took a seat beside him, excited yet apprehensive about what might take place next. They licked their ice cream, the cold sweetness melting away momentarily the tension between them. So how's college been? She asked, desperate to pry open the door to a deeper conversation. It's, busy, he replied. Lots of assignments, parties, people coming and going. His voice trailed off, and he focused intently on his ice cream. It felt like a brick wall was forming between them, and Mary's heart sank. Do you have any close friends? Anyone you trust? Yeah, a few, I guess, he said, still avoiding her gaze. But it's different now. Everyone has their own stuff going on. I know that feeling, she said gently. None of it's easy. But Alex, if you ever want to talk about anything, I'm here. He hesitated, the ice cream cone lowered to his lap. I don't want to be a burden, Mom. The words cut deep. You could never be a burden to me. You're my son. I love you, and I want to be there for you. Alex looked up, surprised at her intensity. A flicker of something, perhaps appreciation or realization, passed through his eyes, But then he hardened again. I just don't want to complicate things. Just then, a group of students passed by, laughing loudly, and Mary felt the knot in her stomach tighten. They were experiencing their own joy and freedom, and she wondered if her son felt the same way or remained isolated within his own struggles. What about the trip your friends are planning? She asked, attempting to shift their focus. Are you going? I don't know. I'm not sure if I should, he muttered, his eyes narrowing. I mean, it seems like everyone is so excited, but what if I don't fit in? What if his voice trailed off again, and Mary felt a tug of familiarity with his hesitations? What if it turns out to be great? What if it helps you break through? She countered. Sometimes you have to leap into the unknown, even if it feels scary. Right, but you always told me to be careful. It's harder than just taking a leap. His words hit her differently now, revealing an unspoken truth they both were balancing on the edge of their own fears. They finished their ice cream in silence, and as the last drops melted into their cones, the air around them felt charged with unresolved tension. Maybe I'll go, he finally said, the words tentative, as if they were the first steps on a shaky path. Mary's heart lifted at the possibility. But before she could respond, her phone buzzed again, and a knot formed in her stomach. As she glanced at the screen, dread settled in like a stone. Another message from her friend. Seriously, Mary, are you sure this is what you need? Could she truly juggle her son's journey and her own uncertainties? As she looked back at Alex, a question hung in the air. The pivotal moment that might change everything loomed close. Would they be brave enough to step into the unknown together? Mary took a deep breath, her heart still swirling with the weight of Alex's words. Just as she was about to respond, the splintering sound of laughter from a nearby group jolted her focus back to the present. Their carefree spirits seemed like a stark contrast to the tension pooling between her and her son. Each laugh felt like a reminder of the distance she wanted to bridge, yet the chasm felt wider than ever. Maybe you should think about it more, she finally said, wrestling with her own uncertainty. You've been telling me all about how lonely you feel. This could be a chance for a fresh perspective. Alex's gaze shifted to the ground, tracing an ant that was marching across the pavement. It's not that easy, Mom. It's like being at a party where everyone knows each other and I'm just standing there, not knowing what to do. I get that. I really do. But remember when you started playing baseball? You were terrified to go to the first practice, but you ended up loving it, right? You never know what new friends could be waiting for you just around the corner. Yeah, but it's different now, he countered, pushing the plate of melting ice cream away, frustration sparking in his eyes. There's a lot more at stake. Mary watched him closely, yearning to connect with whatever turmoil was swirling within him. What do you mean? What's at stake? He finally looked up, his expression shifting from frustration to something softer, a hint of vulnerability. What if I'm still the same awkward kid? What if I don't fit in with them anymore? It's exhausting, Mom. I think we all feel like that sometimes, like we don't belong. But you also have so much to offer. Try not to limit yourself with those thoughts. He rubbed the back of his neck, as if the tension there was too much for him. I guess I just don't want to disappoint you. Her heartbeat quickened. You could never disappoint me, Alex. Just figuring things out is enough. It's part of growing up. The air between them became thick with emotion. He squeezed his eyes shut tightly, as though trying to suck in all the fears and doubts. After a long pause, he opened his eyes and met hers. I want to be brave, Mom. I really do. But sometimes it feels like I'm just holding on to the past. Mary's heart twisted. She wanted to hug him, comfort him, yet something held her back. Maybe it was the fear that her embrace would only echo the soft tenderness he so desperately sought. Or maybe it was the stark realization that they both needed to face their fears. Just then, her phone buzzed again. A text alert glowed on the screen. Mary, the meeting is important. Don't ignore it. The weight of her responsibilities came crashing back, reminding her of the world waiting beyond their moment. I have to take this, she said softly, feeling a fresh wave of anxiety wash over her. She glanced at Alex, who studied her like he was piecing together a puzzle. But let us talk more later, okay? He nodded slowly, his expression unreadable, yet there was a flicker of something, maybe hope. Returning her focus to her phone, she quickly typed a response to her friend. Each word felt heavy, a reminder of everything she was trying to juggle. She felt Alex's eyes on her. The silence stretched again, laden with unsaid things. "Mom," Alex started, his voice barely above a whisper. "What if I'm not ready to go on that trip?" She looked back at him, and the emotion in his eyes was palpable. "Then don't go. It's your choice. But just remember, sometimes we make decisions out of fear when we should be driven by courage." As he processed her words, she could sense a shift within him, as if some barrier was breaking. But the phone kept buzzing in her hand, pulling her away from the moment. She felt torn, frustrated by her obligations. "Can I ask you something?" Alex ventured, his voice trembling slightly. "What would you do if you got that message again? If you were in my shoes?" Mary opened her mouth to answer, but suddenly, the silence held a weight so profound she hesitated. "Would you be scared?" he asked, searching her face for truth. The tension wrapped around them tighter, and she could only respond with her gaze, wondering if they both could face what lay ahead together. Would they have the courage to step into the unknown side by side? And as the last remnants of sunlight poured over them, casting long shadows, a truth hung in the air. Sometimes, the hardest leap doesn't come from the outside, but from within. Mary felt her heart racing in the silence that followed Alex's question. She wanted to say something profound, something that could soothe his fears, but the words just wouldn't come. Instead, she pressed her lips together, fighting the tangle of emotions she felt. "Mom." Alex broke the stillness again, his voice raw and edged with uncertainty. "If I don't go, does that make me a coward?" A lump formed in her throat. "No, honey. It doesn't. It just means you need more time to figure things out, and that's okay." She reached out to touch his hand, a gentle squeeze, grounding them both in that moment. The warmth of his palm against hers felt like a lifeline. She could sense the weight on his shoulders, the pressure to be someone he wasn't sure he could be. "I just don't know if I can put myself out there again. I feel so lost." "Sometimes lost is a good place to be," she murmured. "It's where we discover the most about ourselves." A flicker of understanding crossed his face. But as Mary looked at him, she felt a pang in her chest. She had always tried to protect him from feeling lost, yet here they were, both searching for a way forward, but unsure of where to step next. With a heavy sigh, Alex leaned back against the cool stone of the bench. "What if I try, and it ends up worse than before? What if it doesn't?" She countered gently, remembering how she had once felt at the edge of a new career, wondering if she would sink or swim. Every leap we take has a chance of falling flat, but what's even scarier is not trying at all. He frowned, staring blankly ahead at the unwinding greenery of the park. "That sounds so easy when you say it. It's not easy for me either." She swallowed hard, forcing herself to be honest, peeling back the layers of her own fears. "I struggle with a lot of things, Alex. I'm scared about work, relationships, everything. But I keep pushing through because I believe in growth. I believe in you." He turned his head slightly, a flicker of vulnerability crossing his features. A small crack began to form in the fortress he had built to protect himself. "Mom, I wish things were simpler." "Me too," she replied, her heartache whispering between them. "But life isn't a straight path. It's about learning to navigate the twists and turns together." Suddenly, his phone buzzed in his pocket, interrupting the moment. He pulled it out, eyes scanning the screen. Mary watched, a small knot tightening in her stomach. What could it be? "Who is it?" she asked, curiosity clawing at her. "It's just a friend from school," he said dismissively, but she noted the slight unease in his tone. Before she could probe further, he turned back to her, a sudden spark in his eyes. "You know what? I might try, Mom. Just to see." But I'm not promising anything. That's all I ask, Mary replied, relief spilling through her. They might not have it all figured out, but at least they were moving forward, albeit slowly. As they sat there, the evening sky darkening above them, a sense of hope fluttered between them, tentative but real. She dared to believe they could turn the tides, together. At that moment, the relentless buzzing of her phone echoed in her pocket again, insistent and urgent. Sighing, she glanced at the screen. Another message from her friend. The message read, "You need to decide quickly. This is a big opportunity." Mary felt her mind racing again, caught between her responsibilities and the beautiful moment unfolding with her son. What if she pushed too hard on her work when her heart needed to stay with Alex? What's wrong? He asked, his brows knitting together in concern. Nothing I can't handle, she lied, but he didn't seem convinced. As she stared at his worried face, she felt the pressure mounting. Could she truly balance everything without it all collapsing? Alex, she said, suddenly feeling the gravity of her situation even more. What if I have to make a choice soon? Between work and family? His eyes widened, the thrill of daring to dream mingling with the uncertainty of reality. Then we'll figure it out together, right? Just promise me you'll still be here, no matter what. Mary nodded, her heart swelling, yet laden with questions. Would they both find the courage to confront whatever awaited them? The conversation had shifted from mere words to a subtle dance of resolve, yet the world still pressed on around them. And as they both held each other's gaze, the future loomed before them, uncertain and fragile. But deep down, they understood, sometimes, the greatest challenges lead to the deepest bonds and the hardest decisions lay ahead. Mary's phone buzzed again, the sound slicing through the thick veil of uncertainty that hung over them both. She took a deep breath, reminding herself to keep calm. Mom? Alex's voice brought her back, but there was something sharper in his tone now. What's really going on? She forced a smile, though it felt brittle on her lips. It's just the usual work stuff. Nothing to worry about, I promise. Yet even as she spoke, doubt crept in. Did he believe her? He shifted uneasily on the bench, looking down at his hands before meeting her gaze again. You know, you can talk to me, right? It feels like you're holding something back. Mary's heart sank. She didn't want to burden him with her worries, especially not now when he was trying to find his own footing. But she also knew that honesty was important. How could they figure things out if they were both guarding their feelings? Okay, she said softly, ready to break down the wall. I am a little overwhelmed. Work is getting hectic. There's an opportunity I've been wanting to chase, but it could take me away from home a lot. Alex's expression shifted, concern etched on his face. Is it something you really want? I think so, she replied, her voice trailing off as she reflected on her ambitions. Would pursuing that ambition pull her too far from him? But what if it's not worth it? What if in trying to build something for us, I end up missing all the moments that matter? The tension in the air thickened. Alex reached over, resting his hand on her knee, grounding her amidst the chaos of her thoughts. You deserve to follow your dreams, Mom. But you also deserve to be happy right here, with me. I don't want you to feel like you have to choose. His words struck deep. The duality of their lives seemed to collide in that moment, a beautiful chaos tangled with fear. Here he was, a young man teetering on the cusp of his own decisions, yet he was still worried about her. In that exchange, Mary felt a connection more profound than she had realized they shared. Yes, it's just hard, she whispered, feeling the weight of everything inch closer. I don't want to let you down, Alex. I never want to choose work over you. He nodded, the flicker of determination in his eyes igniting something in her. Then don't. Just make sure you're honest with yourself about what you need. We'll navigate this together, remember? She smiled back, reassured but still uneasy. Together, yes. But just as that warm glow settled in, a chill ran through the air when Alex's phone buzzed once more. He glanced at it, and she noticed the change in his expression, a mix of surprise and apprehension. What is it? She asked, her pulse quickening at the sight of him retreating inward. Just another message from that friend, he said slowly, as if processing something he hadn't expected. They want to meet. It's about the trip. The trip? She knitted her brows. Is that the one you were thinking of going on? Yeah, but now he hesitated, the phone still in his hand, uncertainty flitting across his features. What if it's not what I thought? What if I regret going? Then you don't have to go, Alex, she said softly, her heart racing, sensing a brewing storm of thoughts. Remember what we talked about? It's okay to take a step back. He paused, words trapped in his throat as his gaze flickered between her and the phone. Maybe it's not about being brave anymore. Maybe it's about what I really want, and I just don't know what that is yet. The candor of his thoughts hit her hard. It was a reminder that both of them were in a delicate dance of choices and decisions, trying to carve out their paths while holding on to one another. Then you take your time, Alex. Don't rush into anything unless you feel good about it. He looked up, searching her eyes for reassurance. Mom, what if I make the wrong choice? What if I end up missing everything? Just like you worry about work? She could feel another wave of uncertainty, the struggle of life echoing through their vulnerable moment. They both had to decide. There was a journey ahead, one that involved both of them. As night began to settle around them, Mary took a deep breath, feeling a flicker of hope and fear dance in the air. She realized that the most wonderful parts of their lives often tangled together with uncertainty, forming an intricate web that required both courage and trust to navigate successfully. What will you choose, then? Are you going to respond? She asked, glancing at the phone in his hand. With a furrowed brow, he stared at the screen, caught between adventure and fear. In that moment, the weight of their decisions merged, poised to take shape, but which direction would they both choose? As Alex hovered over his phone, the weight of the moment bore down on him. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. Mary sat beside him, her heart pounding in sync with his rising uncertainty. Mom, what if I don't know what I want? He finally confessed, the words trembling on his lips. What if I make the wrong choice? Mary drew closer, her hands still on his knee, grounding them in shared understanding. It's okay not to have everything figured out right now. We all face that. What matters is knowing you're not alone in this. He turned to face her, his blue eyes searching hers for reassurance. But what if I miss out on everything by not acting? Or what if I go and realize it's not for me? With a deep breath, Mary recalled those moments when she felt the weight of decision pressing her down too. Alex, life isn't just about chasing opportunities, it's about understanding yourself. Every choice we make can be a chance to learn, whether it's a leap forward or a cautious step back. His brow furrowed, the conflict swirling in his heart. With a soft chuckle, Mary added, even your ice cream choice today wasn't a mistake. It's about enjoying the flavors, right? A small smile tugged at his lips. Did he finally get what she meant? Let us think about this together, Mary continued, instead of worrying if the trip will define your future, what about turning it into an adventure? Perhaps you could just go for the experience and not put so much pressure on yourself to chase perfection? Alex seemed to ponder this. So you're saying I should just go and see what happens? Exactly. Embrace the unknown. The beauty of life often lies in those unplanned moments, even if they don't lead exactly where you think they will. He took a deep breath, the tension in his shoulders easing just a bit. Okay, but what if it's terrible? Then you come home, and we tackle the next step together. We're a team, remember? That's when he met her gaze, hope flickering amidst the uncertainty. You're right. If I go, I'll have a chance to learn what I truly want. Maybe even collect memories instead of regrets. Yes. Mary beamed, feeling warmth fill the air between them. She gripped his hand gently. You've got so much potential, Alex, and I believe in you. Just allow yourself the freedom to explore. That's what life is all about. The night lingered in a satisfying silence, just long enough for Alex to muster the courage to respond. He glanced back at his phone, the message from his friend now an open invitation to explore. "Okay," he said, determination setting in. "I'll go on the trip. But only because you're right, I need to experience life without fear of missing out." "That's my boy." She squeezed his hand, elation washing over her. "And I'll be right there for you when you have stories to share." "But Mom," Alex interjected, hesitating. "You have your own decisions to make too." She nodded slowly. "True. I'm figuring some things out too. But let's promise to keep the lines of communication open, no matter what happens. You'll always be my priority." "Deal," he replied, a smile breaking through the clouds of uncertainty that had hung between them all evening. They both understood the significance of this moment, not just the trip, but the newfound connection paving the path ahead. The fear no longer felt insurmountable, but rather a companion in the journey of transformation they were embarking on together. As the evening deepened, the stars began to twinkle brightly above, reflecting the glimmer of hope they both realized was possible. This was the beginning of something real, a testament to resilience, bravery, and connection that neither of them would take for granted again. "Hey, Mom," Alex said, a genuine smile lighting his face. "Just one more thing." "What's that?" "Promise me that you'll keep chasing your dreams too. Don't let my journey hold you back. We can do this together, remember?" "Together," she echoed, her heart swelling with pride. In that moment, she knew, they were ready. It was time to embrace their individual paths while keeping their bonds stronger than ever. And maybe, just maybe, the adventure of life itself, filled with uncertainty and choice, would deepen their connection and transform them into who they were meant to be. As the night closed in, they shared a confident silence. Both ready for the adventures that awaited. Now, for everyone watching, are you ready to embrace your own journey? This is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let your voice matter. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this emotional transformation. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful lesson about family and growth. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.